There are vehicles that survive because they were mass-produced. There are vehicles that survive because someone famous owned them. And then there are vehicles that survive for no logical reason at all. Found rotting in obscurity, restored by someone stubborn enough to see what they could become, and emerging back into the world more remarkable than they were when they left it. The 1941 Ford Western Flyer is that third kind of vehicle. And almost nothing about its story is straightforward. Start with the basic facts, which are these. Only 3 were ever built. Nobody agrees on why. The most commonly told version says the Western Flyer was commissioned by S.C. Johnson Wax as a showcase vehicle for the 1939 to 1940 New York World's Fair. A rolling advertisement for a company that understood the value of making people stop and stare. The competing version says it was built for Winfield Campbell of the Campbell Baking Company as a luxury family vacation vehicle for trips through British Columbia. Both stories have been repeated by people with apparent authority. Neither has been definitively proven. The truth, if it exists in any recoverable form, has not been found. What is not disputed is who designed it. Brooks Stevens was one of the most productive industrial designers in 20th century America. A man whose portfolio included the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, the Jeep Wagoneer, and the Miller Brewing logo. Stevens approached every project with the conviction that ordinary objects deserved extraordinary treatment, that the vehicle delivering hot dogs or the truck carrying supplies could be as visually considered as anything in a design museum. The Western Flyer was his vision of what a luxury road vehicle should look like in an era when the boundaries between automobile, trailer, and aircraft were still being negotiated by designers willing to ignore all 3 categories simultaneously. The body was streamlined and self-contained, drawing from the same aerodynamic vocabulary that was reshaping everything from locomotives to fountain pens in the late 1930s. It was built to move through air with minimum resistance and maximum presence. A vehicle that announced itself before it arrived and was remembered long after it had gone. Then it disappeared. For decades, the Western Flyer existed in fragments of memory and faded photographs until 2010, when a hot rod builder named Howdy Ledbetter found one of the surviving examples in a condition that most people would have walked away from. The interior had rotted entirely. The body was essentially a metallic skeleton. The structure present, but everything that had made it habitable long since gone to decay. Ledbetter did not walk away. He spent 7 months transforming what he had found into something he called a land yacht, and the decisions he made during that restoration reveal a man who understood the original vehicle's spirit without feeling obligated to preserve it literally. He cut the body shell in half and lengthened it by 47 inches, giving the Western Flyer a presence on the road that the original, already substantial, had only suggested. At the front, he fitted an inverted 1941 Ford COE cab over engine grille, creating a longer, more aggressive nose that referenced the vehicle's Ford origins while producing a face unlike anything in the standard automotive catalog. Above the windshield, he mounted a single 1941 Buick headlamp. One lamp, centered, staring forward like a cyclops eye. It should not work aesthetically. It does. The chassis beneath the restored body is a 1996 Ford motorhome platform, modernized for reliability and daily usability. Power comes from a 7.5-liter Ford 460 V8 producing 350 horsepower, connected to an automatic overdrive transmission. The combination gives the Western Flyer the mechanical confidence its appearance demands. Enough power to move the extended body at highway speeds without apology, with the transmission managing the work smoothly enough that the vehicle's size becomes irrelevant on an open road. Inside, Ledbetter built what he described as a time capsule. A cabin designed for 2 people to live in comfortably for extended periods without compromise. A kitchen with a 2-burner gas stove, refrigerator, freezer, and microwave. A 4,000-watt Cummins generator providing independent electrical power. Modern air conditioning, supplemented by additional roof fans. A queen-size bed at the rear. The Western Flyer had been designed originally as a vehicle for someone who refused to accept that comfort and mobility were mutually exclusive. Ledbetter's restoration honored that original intention completely. The restored Western Flyer won Best of Show at the 2014 Good Guys event in Pleasanton, California, one of the most respected concourse-style competitions in the American hot rod and custom vehicle world. The judges and the crowd responded to something that is genuinely difficult to define. The Western Flyer is not a restoration in the conventional sense. It is not original. It is not a replica. It is a conversation between a 1941 design and a 2010 builder, conducted across 7 decades of distance, and the result is more coherent than either party had any right to expect. Asking prices when the vehicle has appeared on Hemmings and eBay have ranged between $70,000 and $150,000. For a vehicle of which 3 were built, whose origins remain disputed, whose designer also created the Wienermobile, and which was found as a metallic skeleton in 2010 before winning Best of Show 4 years later. That range feels less like a price and more like an acknowledgement that some objects simply do not have a rational market value. Brooks Stevens spent his career arguing that design was not a luxury reserved for expensive objects. The Western Flyer was his proof. A vehicle built in tiny numbers for unclear purposes that nevertheless expressed a complete and confident vision of what road travel could feel like when someone cared enough to think it through properly. Howdy Ledbetter found that vision in a field rotting and decided it was worth 7 months of his life to bring it back. The result won awards and stopped traffic and sold for prices that make no logical sense given its origins. That is not a story about a vehicle. That is a story about what happens when an idea refuses to die, even when the physical object carrying it has.